Hey, this is Dr. Tasha Rogers, and I am back with Dr. Tasha After Dark. And honey, it is after dark today. Okay, we're gonna have some fun today. Now, I don't just be, jumping up here saying what I would say. I really put a lot of time and research into the stuff that I say. So this is not a scientific topic today, but it is a sexual topic. Now, and sitting and talking to you ladies, a lot of ladies are really interested in what they can do to make their vagina, aka their coochie, the best coochie he's ever had, right? And so when I hear this, and I'm like, what can I do, doc? What can I do, doc? What can I do, doc? And I say this, and I'm sitting and talking to my friends, either other OBGYNs or a lot of times even males, because I like to get the male perspective on what's going on, okay, and what they're looking for and all the things. So when I'm like, well, I tell the girls this, this, and this, the dudes be like, that ain't it. That just ain't it. That ain't it. It's other stuff. That ain't it. It's other stuff. So now I have come up with the video. Okay. And you might want to stop right now, click like, and share it with 50,000 people because I'm about to drop some pearls on y'all. I have come up with the videos that these dudes have given me, license to share with you guys. And then I'm going to add in the stuff medically that, brings it all full circle. So y'all ready? We're going to have some fun today. So we talking about best coochie pearls. Best coochie pearls. Okay. So first of all, what is going to make for good sex over anything, all the things, is health. All right. Yes, I'm a doctor. Yes, I'm gonna say that. Yes, it is what it is. It has to, you have to have good health. You have to have good head health, good heart health, and good body health in order to have a healthy sexual relationship. Okay. Now, when I say good head health, this is one premise that you all have to understand. Let me lean in. Okay. Your clitoris does not listen to what is happening to it, around it, about it. Your clitoris listens to your subconscious mind, right? So, and I think all of y'all will go with me on this. Say you're in a situation, y'all about to do the bust down. The bust down is about to be real. And you start thinking about the dishes that you got to do, your kids' homework that you didn't check. Maybe you left the door unlocked at your second job and you can't figure, you got a paper to write. You're a teacher, you ain't do your lesson plans. And so your mind is distracted, so you start to dry up. And that is why, because your clitoris is going to listen to your subconscious mind. So now let's talk about what I was talking about as far as health. First of all, head health. No, I don't mean that kind of head. We will not be talking about oral today. We are talking about vaginal. That is where I'm at with mine. Okay, I'm waist down. So when we talk about head health, let's talk about focus. You have to be completely focused on what you're doing, sis. Your mind can't be here, there, and everywhere. If you can't focus in your house, then take it to his house, take it to a hotel, take it to, some other place where you're going to be able to focus on who you're doing and what you're doing. How about that? Okay. So your partner in sexual activity requires just your full focus, your full attention with no distractions. You should be focused on what you're doing, who you're doing, and all of those things. So a distractionless situation where you're all in, you're locked in with your partner. Okay. The next thing is heart issues. Remember, I said you want to have head health and heart health. When I say heart health, again, your subconscious mind, your clitoris is listening to that subconscious mind. So if you have relationship issues, meaning I seen him like her post and I went and she be liking all her stuff, and this one he on Facebook with this one, and yeah, I got him on Find My Phone, but he made this stop, and I don't know who just stuff. When you have stuff, when you have trust issues, when you have relationship issues, it'll also affect your subconscious mind, and that can also affect your performance and actually your level of stimulation. So if you have any underlying relationship issues, any money issues in your relationship, any of those things can have an effect on how you perform, or if you're even wanting to perform or able to perform. So that is very, very important, not just head health, heart health. The next thing is conflicts with upbringing you need to deal with. And what does that mean? We have so many people, and sometimes males as well, but more females that are brought up in strict households, You a hoe if you have sex outside of marriage. Don't do this. You can do this, but you can't do this. You should be married when you have sex. They've been terrified their whole life. Don't bring no baby in here. Don't bring no baby in here. Don't bring no. So for them, sex is not even that pleasurable because there's always an underlying level of guilt or fear. And those are things that you should absolutely see a sexual counselor about because it is impeding on your sex life, your how you feel about sex. So those are things, traumas that you want to deal with and address. Okay. And if you still feel like, well, yeah, I don't feel like I should be having sex and I'm not married, well, don't. But it's going to have an impact, whether you believe it or not. And the next thing is body health. Sis. Okay. Now, a lot of women are going to have issues, and it's okay if you have issues, but let's address the issues. One thing I will always tell women about the vagina is like food, sis. If it smells bad, it is bad. Would you go in the kitchen, take the lid off of some I don't know, some chicken salad in the refrigerator, know it smells sour, and eat it anyway? Okay, that's not right. Well, your vagina is the same way. If it's smelling funny, it ain't right. And so what we can do is go ahead and get that addressed. How about that, sis? So if there's odor, if there's excessive, let's talk about discharge. Because some of y'all, and I get that maybe you haven't been taught, you didn't have that conversation with your mama, you don't have a very open gynecologist, and social media tell y'all anything. But let's talk about discharge. Now, let me be very clear. Your vagina, your coochie, is a mucous membrane. Just like your eyes have tears, your ears have wax, your nose have boogers, your mouth has spit, your vagina has discharge, okay? So yes, you should have some component of discharge, but it should not be excessive. It should not smell bad. It should not be an odd color. You got a little clear, gonna be okay. You got a little white, gonna be okay. Maybe a little off-white sometimes. But when you start getting into them little pastel colors, problematic, okay? When you have to wear a panty liner or your panties will be soaked, problematic. When it starts to itch, burn, or irritate, problematic, okay? So, discharge in and of itself is not anything abnormal. You know, when they say the vagina is self-cleansing, well, kind of that's what they mean. And that's what the discharge is actually doing. They don't mean the outside of the vagina. So I need y'all to use some soap down there. Okay. We're going to get to that because that just burns my behind. Now, I feel bad a lot of times because I don't know. I think sometimes either people don't know, like doctors don't know, or they just be talking off the top of their head, or maybe they just telling you what their grandmama told them. Listen, here's how, when it comes to hygiene, okay, please wash your vagina. And I'm not being smart. Don't put nothing up in the hole. Up inside the hole is for fingers, tampons, penises, and dildos. That's what up inside the hole is for, point blank, period. But the outside of that thing, I'm going to need you to get a washcloth. Get you some soap. Y'all know the rules. If you don't know the rules, go back to my vaginitis video and read the rules, okay? Get you some soap, bar soap, either a Clean and Cute body wash bar. Hey, you're going to smell good, and your coochie's going to be straight, and your discharge going to be gone. But anyway, if you don't do that, Dove White Bar Soap, original. Dove original, okay? Not the sensitive skin, not the exfoliate, none of all of that. The Dove original, okay? But that's only if you can't get your hands on, can't afford, or whatever the case may be with the Clean and Cute body wash bar. Okay? Now, lather that thing up. It can be nice and bubbly. And wash. Wash your vagina. The big lips, the small lips, the taint, we call it, around the clitoris, your booty, all that. Wash it with soap. And then rinse it out to make sure it's all rinsed out. Okay? Make sure you're nice and rinsed out clean. All right? Now, if we are having any odors outside of that, then you probably need to come for a gynecology exam. And that's okay. Like, you should be coming for one anyway. Okay? So we got the odor, we got the discharge. Pain and bleeding is another thing that'll slow us up. A lot of times we may have conditions that are undiagnosed, but don't be sitting there going through all types of pain because you are there, you're not enjoying yourself, it's hurting. Of course your vagina is going to dry up. Now you add another component of pain to that. So don't do that, okay? You want to be like, this hurt. When he go this way or he move this way, it hurts. Baby, you need to come in, be assessed. You need an ultrasound. Do you have a cyst? Do you have fibroids? Do you need to be evaluated for endometriosis? All the things. So if there's anything that's making you uncomfortable, baby, you need to get that looked at. Don't think you're going to be able to have good and great sex because for what, an hour, you're going to be able to breathe past the pain. And no, that's not the way the situation should go. Okay. This is a give and take, not a give and you done took all the pain. We're not doing that. Okay. And then if we have bleeding. So first of all, if you have bleeding with intercourse, it says a lot. You definitely need to be assessed. It's what we call postcoital bleeding. That could be associated with any cervical issues, lesions, fibroids, polyps, cancer, all that. So if you find yourself constantly bleeding when you have sex, oh no, ma'am, you need to come on, run that thing in, get yourself an appointment, miss your nail appointment if you have to, but pay your copay and get on in so you can be assessed because something janky could be going on. Okay. So once we have our head stuff together, our heart stuff together, and our body stuff together, we should be ready. So now here's the part that I done got from the boys. Okay. Now, a lot of the information that I got from a couple of members of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. You know, they just pure out and out hoes. They are professional hoes. We love them because they smooth. They got that shimmy. They got the shoulder roll. They got the stroll. They got all that. But y'all know what they do. Now, and they are some very industrious brothers, smart. They run the world. But y'all know. Okay, stay away from that Kappa punch. Y'all know. Now, when it comes to sex, this is what the fellas say they want. These are the tangibles, okay? Now, the first thing is engagement. And what does that mean? Like, act like you want to be there, sis. Like the whole just laying there, being mechanical, just letting somebody do something to you, just like, okay, they feel like they paid for it. They feel like they having sex with like a robot, a dummy, or a paid partner. And that's not what they want. Like, you have to engage, talk to them, just, I don't really know how to say engage other than engage. Be all up into it, sis. Talk your talk, speak your speak, pop your stuff, all that thing. And some people, I guess, whatever you into, they have different fetishes. Y'all share that conversation beforehand. Rock with that. See if you into it. See if you want to talk about what he want to talk about. All the things, but engage. And I notice with like younger people, everything is, and when I say younger, I literally mean like 30 and below. Everything tends to be a little transactional, and that's a little bit difficult. And maybe that's what younger guys want. Maybe we'll do a podcast where we're talking to younger men to see how they differ from, men in their 30s or 40s, and even 50s, but they don't like to feel that it's transactional. They like for you to be engaged, to talk to them, to say things to them, to listen to what they're saying to you. It's an engagement thing. Do not be mechanical. Conversation. Okay, this is when you could say some crazy stuff out your mouth, and they're either gonna love it or hate it, and y'all will figure each other out. But this is when you can do and be whoever you want to be. You Sasha Fierce, be Sasha Fierce. This your time to shine, girl. Okay, so there's that. And technique. Don't do too much, but respond. Again, they say, when you flipping here, flipping there, you swinging them all over here. You want to do this, sometimes like, yo, sis, calm down. Like, calm down. I'm scared. Calm down. Don't do too much, but unless that's what y'all agree to, of course, but engage. You want to engage. And that means like, it's okay to thrust your hips. It's okay to move if you're on the bottom. It's okay to be on the top. It is okay, but again, don't just lay there like a lump on a log, like, okay, I guess this is how it's supposed to go. Do what you got to do, because nobody wants to feel like they're assaulting anybody else. So their thing is technique, and again, I don't feel from what they were saying that it has to be something so magical. Again, move your hips, get on top, ask questions, talk, just be in it. Just be in it. Be a willing participant. They were like, sometimes you feel like you're literally, and of course they didn't want to be on camera to say this, because they get on camera and be like, oh no, it's the emotional love. But then off camera, they want to talk all this stuff. So I wanted to bring the truth to you. So they were just saying, sometimes you feel like you're assaulting somebody. Like, I want somebody who feels like they want it as bad as I want it. So there's that. Also, the visuals and the smells. Now let's talk about this because aromatherapy is real, right? And that's positive and negative, girls. Aromatherapy is real. So I say keep it simple and sweet. KISS. Keep it simple and sweet. And what does that mean? Figure out what your partner likes. And again, it's a little bit difficult for y'all folk who don't have that much conversation. But figure out what your partner likes. If they are lingerie people, then you ain't got to spend a whole lot because, that y'all got Amazon these days. But if lingerie is their thing, do the lingerie thing. If they're like, oh, I like this particular thing, do that particular thing. And it doesn't have to be all about what you're doing for somebody else, because you might have a thing. You might like a male in boxer briefs. Okay, well, say that. You might like a male, say that. So, express what it is that you would like to see as well, because visual is both sided. It's not just one sided, right? So you might want to be very clear on, what you want to see, and they may be clear on what they want to see. Okay, well, if you got somebody who like, I don't care, it's a waste of money, you're getting all this lingerie, and I'm gonna just snatch it off anyway, so it's just a waste of money, save the money. Well, that's not somebody who you want to do that with, because they're not gonna be, thrilled by that. So you just have to figure out what it is that your partner would like to see, but understand that the visual is very, very important. Okay. And also smell. Now, what does that mean? If this is a new relationship, or even if this is, you get a little bit of a pass sometime if it's a long standing situation, because all of a sudden, if you got a little funny smell, they might tell you, but they might still go ahead on and hit it because they know you, right? But if it's a new situation, they're going to be scoping everything out. What it look like, what it smell like. Are you sweaty? Do you smell like spoiled milk? Is it fishy? Does it smell funny? Does it look funny? All types of things. So when I say visual, I also mean how it looks. They're going to be looking at those things and inspecting those things, and also how it smells. Now, again, I told y'all I'm all about vaginal health. Don't go putting stuff up there trying to perfume away odors so you can. I'm going to tell you one thing I have a real sensitivity toward, and if I sound like I'm being insensitive, forgive me, because I'm not, but I really hate the pick me mentality. When people come in, they don't care what they don't care what they got to experience. They don't care what they got to take. They don't care what they got to do. Their attitude is just make my vagina perfect for him so that, he won't have a complaint, and but he might be the reason why your vagina ain't perfect. So don't do that. So I don't like the pick me mentality, but I love a woman who's like, okay, tell me what to do. Tell me what's happening here. Tell me how I can best achieve the best vaginal health that I can have. How do I keep my stuff in line and in order for you more than anybody? But obviously that person is going to benefit, but for you more than anybody. So don't go putting all kinds of crazy, weird, the vagina is very simple. Although it seems very complicated, it's very simple. So all these people who got y'all soaking in this and drinking this and taking this pill so it can taste like strawberry, it's not a strawberry. It's not supposed to taste like strawberries. It is not a pineapple. It is not a mango, and it is not a kiwi either. Okay, so please stop buying these things and stop taking these, whatever it is y'all taking and soaking and whatever it is y'all soaking, trying to get the vagina to taste like fruit. If he's not going to put the vagina in his mouth, it does not really care what it tastes like. Okay, if he ain't doing it, he ain't doing it. And at the end of the day, before all these things, for decades, centuries, before all these things were created, if they did put it in their mouth, it sure didn't taste like strawberries. So it didn't deter anybody. Okay, so again, what you want to be is clean, and you want to be healthy. All right. And when I say aromatherapy too, I'm not just talking about the aroma of the vagina, honey, the aroma of the room. Okay. Because nobody want to come in a room that smell like hot sweat and you be like, ooh, child, am I the third one in here today? Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. So clean up. First of all, you know how I feel. Get your little simmer pot going, clean up, burn some candles, some diffusers, something like that, because have a signature scent. That's always a good one, because when that person smells that, you want you to pop into their mind. I don't care if they in the Macy's walking through with their grandma. If they smell that scent, they be like, ooh, Tamika had that at her house. Let me call her. Bam. Like you. Okay, period. Now, the next thing is understand that when we talk about vaginal odor, people say, well, people just have a natural vaginal odor. It just should not be a bad odor. If there's a particular odor, understand if there's an odor, there's an infection. Okay. And it does not necessarily have to be sexually transmitted. The sexually transmitted stuff outside a trick, but the sexually transmitted stuff does not have a smell. It's all the other stuff that has a smell. And people kill me. I think I got, and when I shut them right down at the office, don't tell me that. Tell me what your symptoms are. Tell me what your discharge looks like. Tell me what your discharge smells like. Don't tell me what you think you got. That's my job. And it's not to be nasty, but the point is that a lot of y'all give doctors, especially people who may be a little bit lazier, you give them tunnel vision. When you come, I think I got vaginitis. Why? Because it is doing what it did the last time you had it doesn't mean it's vaginitis. And so I bust them out sometimes. I'm like, well, do you think it's a cervical infection, or you think it's a vaginal infection, or do you think it's a component of both, or do you think it's like yeast? Like, tell me what you think you have. And then they get all confused. Right. Tell me what you're suffering from. So stop going, I think I got this. I think stop self-diagnosing, stop self-treating. And get to the bottom of the problem. And so it's okay to have issues. You know, people have issues all the time with their teeth. People have issues with their eyes. People have issues with their skin. It's okay. People are very shamed when they have issues with their vagina. The shameful part is not fixing it, not having it. Having problems, it is what it is. Let's work to get it fixed. But don't stay in the problem and then try to ignore it and then want him to ignore it and they get mad at him when he don't ignore it. Child, you childish. That's the first thing. Now, let's talk about feeling. Honey, what do these men's say they feeling for, hunty? What are the men's feeling for? The first thing they say is warmth. Okay, they are interested in it feeling warm. Now, I don't know how to change that. I mean, if you alive and you human, I would figure the vagina should be warm. I don't have a penis. I don't know. But, I mean, I don't know. I would assume that, you know, if your body temperature is a normal body temperature, was 90-something degrees, 98.3, like, the vagina should be warm. And I don't know that there's anything to do to control that. I need y'all not putting water bottles down there. Just leave it alone. He ain't say hot. He said warm. Leave it alone. Okay. So that's something they're going to have to work out on their own. Maybe they got some temperature that's dysregulation on their penis, but we going to say warm is a base. We going to say that you're warm. Okay. Let's just call it that. The next thing they want to talk about is the wetness of it. Now, let's get to that. Okay, because we have a lot of ladies out here that have a lot of problems with vaginal lubrication and wetness. Now, I'm going to give you some solutions to a problem that is problematic because you have different reasons for having vaginal lubrication issues. Our different age groups are going to cause different reasonings for the thing. Now, my older women, it could be due to peri, post, and menopause itself, okay? So it could be some hormonal stuff. My younger women, it can be your thyroid. It can be, again, not being engaged, being tired, having 2 jobs, going to school. You got stuff on your mind, and your clitoris is like, girl, settle down, not today, okay? So it could be that. It could also be dehydration issues. You have to hydrate with water. All this gimmicky stuff, no gimmicky stuff. The only thing that I would ever say that is equally hydrating is coconut water. Not coconut juice, not coconut milk, coconut water. It's very, very hydrating as well. And then in the meantime, and in between time, while we're getting hydrated for our peri-meno and postmenopausal patients, y'all run it in. Y'all, how many times I'm going to say it? How many? And if you're not sure, run back and look at that bioidentical video, the all-natural hormone replacement girl to get you together, okay? It'll have you wanting to have sex with his man, her man, the FedEx man, the public sub man. Baby, you be in these streets. You will be outside, okay? And yeah, just you wake up wet in the morning and you just can't think, just all day long, you're just thinking about it. And so, yes, the bioidentical hormones for whomever. But in the meantime and in between time, while we're fixing the vagina, while we're trying to figure out what the issue is, let me tell you what to do. You want to know what the immediate fix is? Go ahead and get you a pen, sis. I'll hold on. I got to click over on the other line anyway. I'll hold on. Okay, I'm back. Wet kitty lubrication. Now, this is what I literally recommend to all of my patients who need it. Not all of them, but I said, "Oh, you need a new bag this month? Okay, let's get you on some Wet Kitty." Oh, you want a new core? Let's get you on that Wet Kitty. It is not to be played with. And let me tell you, I'm actually I don't endorse anything I don't believe in. This is not a paid endorsement. This is let me tell you something. Okay. So Wet Kitty on Instagram, she's officially pleasured. I know they had taken her page down or something like that, but I believe she's officially pleasured. That is her, but her website I think is officiallypleasured.com. But it's officially pleasure and it is called Wet Kitty. Now let me tell you about Wet Kitty lubricant. The issue with a lot of lubricants is sometimes it causes irritation, but most times it causes vaginitis. Not Wet Kitty, girl. So Wet Kitty is the consistency, and I've literally felt this for myself, because when I was just like, let me check this out and see what this is all about. It's the consistency of the vaginal fluid. It comes in a dropper, so you can literally get a dropper full, however many dropper fulls you into, put it inside the vagina, you squeeze and you drag it along the length of the vagina. Okay. It is odorless, it is colorless, it is tasteless. What it also does is it does not get dry or sticky. It stays the same consistency from the time you put it in until you wash it off. So let's say you think you're going to have company that night. You get your shower, you put your lube in, all the things, girl, and that person doesn't come until the next morning, or you don't have sex until the next morning, y'all fall asleep, whatever it is. It does not matter how long it is in. It is going to stay the same consistency until you wash it off. And it is not going to irritate. It's not going to bother. He's not going to know you used it. Okay. So that's a little sneaky trick that you can try. And trust me, it changes the game. I have recommended this to so many patients. And every single one comes in like, I order 2 and 3 bottles at a time. So the only thing I have heard is sometimes, I guess, depending on their production, shipping can take like a week and a half. So one of my patients was like, child, I don't even want to be without my stuff. So she orders 2 or 3 bottles at a time. I'm as a service, I'm trying to work with the company to be able to offer it at my practice. That's literally how I feel about it. And the things that it's done. So it's giving women, their sexual swag back without any risk of or increased risk of infection. So I'm feeling that and I'm loving that for y'all. So again, it's called Wet Kitty, officiallypleasured.com. I haven't even checked. I don't even know if she still has her Instagram page. She was playing back and forth with them, and whether they would give the page back or not, I don't know. But that's where y'all want to go. Just letting y'all know. And then it's another thing that the last thing that they said was tightness. Now, sometimes we can't control the tightness of our vagina. It's a muscle. It's like anything else. Not to say that if you've had 3 children, yours is going to be looser than somebody. You can't say that. Everybody's different. But there are a couple of things that we can do. You like, I done all the damn Kegels I can do. I'm getting cramps in my hips. I can't do no more damn Kegels. Blah, 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 blah. Is it a procedure I can get it tightened? Yes. So there is a couple of procedures, and actually they are painless. They're expensive as hell, but they're painless. And one of them is called like the Mona Lisa. And basically it looks like a metal dildo, to be perfectly honest, but it goes inside the vagina. And it's really interesting because if you are postmenopausal, and as you get further and further into menopause, your vagina shrinks and it gets shorter. But you may still be very sexually active. So it will either loosen your vagina if it's super short and tight, or it will tighten your vagina. And you do like a couple of different, I think you do like 3 rounds, and then you touch up once a year. And to my understanding, it works beautifully. There's also another procedure out. I can't call the name of that, but that's radio frequency as well. And it works beautifully. That, I think, the difference in that and the Mona Lisa is that one you can have sex the same day. Mona Lisa, you have to wait a week. But either way, it's a bunch of different techniques or new procedures that are out that will help with vaginal tightening. So that's that, girl. Also, if you do our vag steam, if you want to go all natural, we include maca powder. Maca powder actually tightens the vagina as well and helps with your sex drive. Well, it helps with what eroticism for the most part. So if you want to stay as natural as possible, the vag steam is going to do wonders for that. But there is mechanical stuff that they can do that is painless if you got to check. Also, the other thing that I'm actually certified to do this, I don't really do it though. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's no real reason. It just takes a lot of preparation. And child, sometimes I don't be feeling like it. But it's called the O shot. You all have heard a lot about the O shot. And O is for like orgasm. But what happens with the O shot is as follows. So what they do is they draw your blood, right? And we separate the blood from like red blood cells into like plasma. And so we grab the plasma, and then how can I do this? Because y'all know I'm a visual person. If you have, so like if this is your vagina, and I do it like this because it's kind of angled like this. So if this is your vagina and this is the top of your vagina, at the very top is the G spot. The very top. So as soon as you put your finger in the vagina, the G spot is right there. Okay. And so what we do is we take a needle and we inject that plasma into the G spot. So what it does is it makes the top of the vagina fall kind of down into the vagina. And so what that does is it helps with tightness. It helps collapse that vaginal canal. And it helps with orgasms because obviously there's more contact with the G spot. So if you're constantly contacting the G spot, it helps with orgasms. I don't know. For me, when I think about the anatomy and I think about the mechanics of sex and I think about the O shot, which again, I'm certified to do, but I feel like it seems like it would be more beneficial for somebody who had a small partner. I mean, am I wrong? Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. Like, drop a comment down below. Let me know if I'm wrong. Because if you have somebody who's like, unless your vagina is just like, unless you have a very lax vagina and you really didn't know of any procedure to fix that. And so with the O shot dropping, closing up your cavity a little bit, then I could see, okay, yes, that's going to help you. But if you have like what we call an average diameter vagina, and you kind of collapse and you have a partner with an average size penis, we should be okay. But you still get women who are unable to achieve orgasm through vaginal intercourse, no matter what, their partner size or no matter, and that's a whole nother situation. That is seeing a sex therapist about a bunch of different stuff. We not going to the left or to the right. We stand right in the middle, the regular old stuff. But an O shot again is also an option. So yes, we can do things to affect and the tightness of the vagina. And there are some actual surgical procedures, which, child, it's called the posterior repair. And so basically we get in there, we trim some of the vaginal, what we call the mucosa, or we trim some of the vaginal lining, and then we get under there, we tighten up that muscle, tightening up the vagina, and we tighten up the skin, and we sew it all back together so your cavity is smaller. That's how it used to be done back in the day before we had all these painless procedures. Expensive, but painless. So there are things to do that can affect. So yes, we can help you with the wetness. Yes, we can help you with the tightness, the warmth. That's all you, boo. Hopefully you ain't frigid Franny, and got issues. But I just feel like from what I'm hearing, if I can give it all, for what I'm hearing, it's an experience. It should be an experience of both of you guys. So it's what you see, it's what you smell, it's what you feel, it's how somebody engages, it's how somebody receives you. It's all a whole picture. It's not about tricks and doing weird and crazy stuff because at the same time, somebody could have an amazing experience that was in somebody else's mind is basic, but the way they were engaged with and the way that they were received, it just made it that much more like, wow. So, I think it's also linking kind of with your partner. and figuring out what their non-negotiables are and figuring out what they're looking for, and also communicating that for yourself, because when you're satisfied, it feels great to satisfy somebody else. But if you feel like all you're doing is satisfying somebody else and you're not really satisfied, well, you're not going to engage very much, because it's not going to be a pleasurable experience for you. So now, once all that's said and done, one thing that I want you guys to get up and do is get up at some point, take a shower, clean your area, make sure your partner is clean and they've cleaned their area. Of course, we've already talked about STD testing, seeing STD testing, and making sure that we are being as safe as we possibly can with the whole sexual experience. But if you notice, a lot of what I talked about, and well, men need to do that. I'm not talking about men in this video. I'm talking about vagina. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about men. But the reality of the situation is, a lot of it, you see, is not physical. A lot of it is dealing with whatever mental and emotional stuff we have going on, as far as our lives, as far as being honest with our partners about what issues we may have with them and our relationships with them, dealing with our entire health and making sure our body in and of itself is healthy. And a lot of times, having all that in line will give us the confidence to be able to engage with them and throw your hips this way, and be able to do other things and get into other positions and be truly focused on what you're doing and maintain your vaginal wetness. And if not, we got some secret tricks for everything. And as far as, if there's anything you feel like you want to address or you want to fix, not for anybody else but for yourself, do that, sis. Do that, because you deserve to have a healthy sex life. And if improving something that you feel is lacking is going to give you what you need as far as having a healthy sex life, do what you got to do. All right. So I hope this helped somebody. I hope you found humor in some of the things that I was saying, and I hope that I taught you something today. So this is Dr. Tasha After Dark, and thanks for joining.